Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. And yes, we're pulling double duty today. I want to thank Al Nash for being a new channel member. Also, we have Professor E. Michael Jones on the platform again. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, Rashid. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. I wanna ask you, what is actually going on in the minds of the people who run Washington D.C. to start this aggressive war against Iran, which is against America's national interests?
Okay, I've been thinking about this, and we've got that Israeli influence as a Christian Zionist, but I think that if you're talking about Washington, there's something deeper than that, and that's the budget. So we have a $38 trillion deficit. That's a lot of money. And so the question is, where are we going to get that kind of money? Where do you go for trillions? I know where you can go maybe for millions, but where do you go for trillions? And so I was starting to think, analyze Trump's latest moves in light of that number. If you go to Venezuela and you add up the total oil reserves they have and multiply it by $80 a barrel, you come up with a certain couple trillion. You add that to Iran, and suddenly you do the same thing there, and suddenly we're talking real money. What you come up with is $42 trillion, which is more than the deficit. And what I'm saying is now, after 1971, oil became gold. This is when Nixon took us off the gold standard and put us basically on the oil standard. So that's what's backing the currency of the United States of America. It's oil. And suddenly, if you could show the world that we have more control over more oil than we have debt, then the people in the world will have confidence in the dollar as the world's reserve currency, and we'll be smooth sailing. Everything will taken care of. Now, there's one little catch here. You have to conquer Iran to do that. And I don't see that happening. So as we're speaking right now, the Straits of Hormuz are closed. Now, this is a simple binary operation. Either they're open or they're closed.
The people, and they said that Iran's air defense systems are working. Someone told me that I forget. I don't want to attribute it to the wrong person, but someone told me that Iran has shot down at least 5 U.S. warplanes and multiple drones. It's just that the United States, like Iran, is sending them in waves. Iran Air Force is still working, even though most of their planes are antiquated. How can America fight to a stalemate when she has to travel back to Diego Garcia or to India to refuel and resupply, because when she shoots her load, she has no place to go because the bases that she had in the Middle East are no longer viable or tenable for her to reload, rearm, and then go back into the battle.
So you're saying it won't be a stalemate. You're saying the United States will lose. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Could be. What does it mean to lose? I'm giving you a specific parameter about win-lose. It's going to be the Straits of Hormuz. If they stay closed, America has lost the war, and that is the end of the American empire because it cannot guarantee the safety of the sea lanes. The American empire is based on opening sea lanes. If they can't open the Straits of Hormuz, that's the end of the American empire. They lost.
Yeah. And I'm pretty much saying what you're saying on that. But Trump had this to say, and I know this is bravado, but I know you want to address this when you hear it. Trump demands unconditional surrender from Iran. And then he says that he will pick the next leader for Iran.
This man is totally delusional at this point. Okay. Where have you heard that term before? It was the term emerged during World War II. Okay, Hitler made repeated attempts to negotiate a settlement all throughout World War II. Churchill would not talk to him. Churchill would not talk to him, and that's where the term unconditional surrender emerged. The military men, the American military men, were trying to tell Roosevelt and Churchill, this is a mistake. You should not ask for unconditional surrender. People are going to die unnecessarily because you're demanding unconditional surrender. This is not a good idea. And people died, and eventually America prevailed. And so he's trying to recycle that faded glory from the beginning of the Third Republic, when we're at the end of the Third Republic, and it's not attainable anymore. It's not attainable. You cannot, the Iranians will not capitulate. I say that because I know a lot of Iranians. I've been there a number of times. I've been there over a 10-year period. I think I was there once a year talking to these people. They will not surrender. The proof of that was the way they fought with Iraq for 8 years. A huge number, 300,000 casualties, and they would not surrender.
So do you think that this is all bluster for the camera from Trump and his administration, and they have to know this behind closed doors, or are they just totally inept?
They're delusional. Now, what is the source of this delusion? It's bad theology. Bad theology. I'm talking about Christian Zionism. Apparently, Hegseth has told his commanders to announce that we are bringing Jesus Christ back to this earth because we are going to create Armageddon. Where did these people learn their theology? By watching Fox News? Where did Hegseth get his degree in theology? And this is the craziness that's driving this, giving this end times scenario and giving some sense that there is a kind of religious will that God is somehow behind them in their supporting their crazy theology. We should not be ruled by people like this. Where is the separation of church and state when we need it? This is delusional.
With those delusional leaders in power, and they're running the country into the ground, because to continue this operation means you have to continue to borrow money into existence to continue to fund the war machine. How is that even possible, and how long can that go?
It's a gamble. I think that everyone knows that something is ending, and so we're going to go for broke. I think Israel knows that nothing lasts more than 80 years. They're afraid the curse of 80 years is going to happen in 2 years, that Israel is going to go out of existence because no Jewish kingdom has ever lasted longer than 80 years. The United States intuitively understands that the empire is at stake, and this breeds desperation, and desperation breeds reckless behavior. This is reckless behavior. Reckless. There were people who were telling him, look, when you tell Trump something he doesn't want to hear, he fires you. That's his pattern. You tell him what he wants to hear if you want to have your job. If you don't tell him, and so the military chiefs of staff were saying, well, we can't guarantee this. Fire that guy. Bring in a general who will agree with me. And so this is how these catastrophes happen. Okay. What's your plan? Suppose the Iranians don't agree to unconditional surrender. What's your plan? What's your plan then? You are out. What's going to happen? That will collapse. It will default, and the whole thing will come crashing down. And now who's going? What we saw over this period, beginning in 1973, the massive transfer of money from the pockets of the working class into the bank accounts of the 1% of the 1%. And that enabled IPAC. And IPAC had money to burn. They bribed every single member of Congress except for Thomas Massey. And they had total control, and everything's wonderful. Except
a flood of bankruptcies. On top of that, we'll have a lot of unemployed people, and we'll have some product that can't make it to the stores, which means the stores will be empty, which means the stores will go bankrupt, which means there are massive defaults on bank loans. Has this guy even thought about that? This is the end of the American empire.
An uprising in Germany, they will leave NATO, they will leave the European Union, and they will make
Thank you so much, Professor. I really appreciate it. I want to have you back on soon. Be safe, be blessed, and I'll send you the video.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody,
Salam.
walaikum salam. Thank you so much. Everybody, listen. Again, before we close out, I always have to say this ad nauseum. Do right by others, not because there's some material gain to be had or some accolades to gain. Do right by others because it's the right, the humane, and the godly thing to do. Because even when no one else is watching you, remember that God Almighty is watching you. As my late, great, and beautiful mother would always say, God sits high on the throne of power, but he looks low at the actions of man. Know that I love each and every one of you who loves truth, but know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, remember to stay righteous. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Thank you, everybody, for joining.